Hello, everybody. Excuse me. Been gone for a couple weeks. I got like some crazy respiratory virus, and I'm just now recovering. So, for those that do view my videos, apologies and thank you for patiently waiting. But we are back, and we are going to talk about just kind of like what's been going on the past week or two with this excursion, as Trump called it, with Iran. And the one thing that I want to kind of focus on here is not even the war itself, but the repercussions that are kind of accumulating in real time. And we do not even know what the true consequence is going to be by the end of all of this. And it really has to do with markets, right? So we have Strait of Hormuz isn't necessarily blocked for those nations that are being or that are not considered hostile to Iran. It's not like China, and I think they just let some Pakistani ships through. But they're causing a lot of grief for any nation that is not basically condemning the actions of the United States, Israel, the Gulf states, what have you. And when you think about it, um, yeah, we're not as dependent on oil that comes through the strait as far as the United States here. But at the same time, the global repercussions are pretty dire. I mean, you got to think about they have to, you know, drill the oil or pump the oil, refine the oil, package the oil, put it on ships, get it out to sea, get it to nations. Those nations have to then take that oil, put it in depots, distribution, et cetera, et cetera. We're talking months long processes. And then it's not only just oil, it's like things like fertilizer, items like, I think it's like ammonia, and these other types of petrol byproducts that a lot of what we use daily without thinking about, like even medications, are impacted by this. So my concerns are more towards now we're going on, I think today's day 29 or maybe it's day 30 of this whole situation. And like what is that delay in supply chain? Like what has that already caused? Right? Like I know there's certain nations that are beginning to ration, like Australia. Strategic reserves are down into the single digit days for nations like, again, Australia. Um, Gas prices here in like where I live in the Rockies area, in the Rocky Mountain region, they're like about 475 for 91, which is insane. And then you think about just that on the gasoline side here at home, maybe we're not as affected short term. But these prices, when the economy is already arguably not doing super great for the average person, yeah, sure, stock market's doing well. If you're a fairly wealthy person, you're doing well. But if you're the person that is like the average American that doesn't even have $1,000 in their savings account, like how are they investing and benefiting from supposed markets, which are not actually doing exceptionally well at this exact moment? But what are those repercussions going to be when it comes to medications? Like if they're not being made, like we're gonna have like an Advil disparity. Um, I'm not super sure. So I just have a lot of concerns about that. The war itself is also escalating. It seems that the likelihood of a ground invasion are ever more real. I believe the USS Tripoli has made it to the Arabian Sea. That's 2,000 Marines, F-35s. I think 2,000 Navy. I mean, what are they going to do with that? I don't know. I mean, God forbid that they actually try to go and occupy an island when Iran's missile batteries are very likely not even on the coast. They're probably, excuse me, in mountain, um, further in region, further inland. They're all underground. Uh, I hate to say it, but I fear for it to be a slaughter of our men and women in the armed forces that they get sent out there. And I did also see that there is an increase in conscientious objector. What is that term? I think it's conscientious objector. Those applications are going up. Um, yeah, the conscientious objector. Sorry, y'all. So no, there's no appetite for this thing. Like no one in America wants this shit to happen, and then we're being basically gaslit with these fake ass like 100% approval by MAGA polls. Like I don't know about anybody else, but like when I go on X, I just see nothing but like dissent against everything that this administration is doing right now. And I voted for Trump. I voted in 16, didn't vote in 20. I think I've said that before because I was in the middle of moving and I didn't want to do mail-in ballots. I wanted to vote in person. I always have since I was 18 years old. So I did not vote in 20. But I was shocked that the election was stolen. It felt stolen. I remember sitting there with my wife watching it happen. I'm like, oh my God, man! Like this country's cooked. And then the desperation of 4 years of, COVID started with Trump, and I don't think he did a very good job with it. 2 weeks to kill the spread or whatever the hell it was, and then Operation Warp Speed, and it was just absolute fucking chaos. Where I live, like I tried to go to a hockey game and I had to have a vaccine passport. Didn't know about that, and my friend had come in town. He's actually from Canada, so he's a huge hockey fan. So it was like a gift I had for him, like something like a surprise. And we couldn't even get in. We couldn't get in the game. It was like, show me your papers. It's like, what the fuck is this? So we went through all that, and that desperation kind of like welled up inside of the average American, and we all got pretty desperate, and we got Trump in. We're talking center left, independents, libertarians, center right, the MAGA coalition, whatever the big tent coalition, the MAGA movement is what I meant to say. Apologies. And then we all got together and we got Trump elected. And now majority of the people that helped that effort, there's RFK supporters, there's various other types of supporters that were there, people that love Tulsi, that were behind the administration for having her involved. And then we've just seen betrayal. And of course, this is all my opinion. And you're free to disagree. You're welcome to disagree. But I feel like it was a massive betrayal. It's been betrayal after betrayal after betrayal. After March of last year, like within 3 months, I felt like things were going in a very strange direction. And lo and behold, here we are. We had June of 25. With us getting involved with the war with Iran on behalf of Israel, and then the bombing of Natanz, Fordo, Esfahan, the nuclear facilities. And rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. Charlie very successfully, in my opinion, was able to go and lobby against Trump to take this any further. And I think consequently that led to, in my opinion, I don't know the facts. I just don't really believe in a lone shooter theory that it was Tyler Rob Robinson and him alone. But I do think that after June of 25, things started to change very rapidly. It's like this desperation, like we're running out of time. Like if you ever worked on a project, and you have, like an 18-month project plan for it. And then when you get into those last couple months, instead of seeing if you can re-baseline the project or see if you can work with executives to add more time, or if they can't add time, give some funding to hire contractors to expedite the work in order to meet that timeline, right? But then the desperation kicks in, and then people start getting thrown under the bus, and drastic actions are taken in, and ultimately, from my personal experience, you'll have a project that goes off the rails, and it doesn't deliver by the day it needs to, and it ends up needing to be extended anyway. And what we're seeing right now is, I think it's like that crunch time. It's like, I think the nation of Israel, the Likud settler coalition of lunatics over there, I believe that they have a very strong hold on our politicians through AIPAC, JACPAC, all of AIPAC's various subsidiaries that they they basically funnel funds through to do donations. That way they can basically obfuscate and say, no, we're not the ones that we don't donate the most amount of money. Yes, you do, and you're scum, and I don't like you, and I think you're disgusting that you represent a foreign nation over your own, and then try to convince people that you're doing it for America. No, you're not. Then like that would be for every other country. I mean, that's ridiculous. I just don't understand it. And I think after this current presidency, the ire of the American people is at a high, and I don't believe that they will ever have the ability to shape or mold or steer policy to the level of success that they've had in the past. And so what we're witnessing now in Iran is an all in move to take down Iran, and then in consequence, basically crash what feels like potentially crash the global markets and global economy. And maybe that's the Samson option. I think a lot of people think of Samson option and they think it's nuclear weapons, like mutually assured destruction by the nation, by the state of Israel. And I would argue, like, look at what's happening right now. It's a slow motion death. What we're seeing with the U.S. dollar. If Iran continues to hold the strait and desperation continues to increase, and what if our allies like Europe, they end up having to acquiesce and purchase oil with yuan? I mean, like, if we go there, like, what is the petrodollar? I'm not saying this is going to happen. These are fears I have, and possible scenarios that we could see unfold before our eyes. And then as an American, we're extremely privileged to have a very easy lives, I would argue, compared to most of the world. And unfortunately, that is the biggest bane to our existence, because we don't know how to adapt. We don't understand as a whole how to overcome hardship anymore, especially like younger generations, right? Like, look at the boomers, how they behave. I just went out to dinner with my wife last night, and there's this huge table of elderly people, and they just don't give a shit. You could just see their demeanor, the way that they live in heaven. They're in paradise. They're at the end of their lives. They're in their twilight years. They fully own their home. They probably fully own a beach house. They probably fully own a cabin in the mountains where they go ski every year. They got a boat. They got 3 cars. They have, X amount of dollars saved up. They don't give a shit about anybody else. And when that's as the duty of a torchbearer, like, you have to ensure that you are, passing on something good and healthy to the new generation. And then this new generation doesn't understand what failure is. They've been spoon fed. So, like, I just fear what that could possibly mean for us as a nation if, we do see significant economic, downturns here. Like, the market's been acting kind of weird ever since Pam Bondi said the 50,000 Dow's $50,000. It hasn't been since, and I think I saw it closed around 46,000 points, or maybe it was 47, but it hasn't really gone up. And all the speculation, I think, is going to start changing after the opening tomorrow, because I don't think anyone believes what Trump says anymore. Like, he last weekend he basically said those, he like ceased, like, essentially like signaled to cease significant hostilities, like hitting like the infrastructure, hitting energy of Iran, so they can talk. There's talks going on, which Iran vehemently denies and says that no such thing has happened. And obviously you can't fully trust one or the other. You have to discern and come to your own conclusions and find your own information there. But I don't think those discussions happened. I mean, they've killed every single freaking person that they could have had a discussion with. And every time we get close as America to have a potential discussion, if it's even true, when those announcements are made, Israel starts going and killing any moderates that are left in Iran, anyone that could actually come to the table. And so as these hostilities increase, Iran is going to start hitting the shit out of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states. And what is that going to do to oil refining if they hit refineries? What is that going to do if they hit depots? What is that going to do if they hit, the locations where they pump oil. Like, what does that mean? And if there's a massive shortfall on energy, like, well, then transport costs are going to skyrocket. That means your groceries are going to be more expensive. There's going to be shortfalls in particular products like medicines, like I was discussing earlier. So a lot. I know I'm all over the place here today, and I apologize for that. I'm going to have my guest coming on the podcast here this week. We were going to do it today, but unfortunately, I had some stuff to do, and I couldn't align to his calendar. He was gracious enough to allow me to postpone for today, and we're going to do it later this week. I won't speak to who he is and what the topics will be. I'll wait. I still have to have some more conversation with this guest, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I think it'll be really interesting. He's really smart person, has a good heart, and cares about people and cares about the country. And I think it'll be very different from what I talk about. I just keep harping on this Iran topic because it's we're inundated with it. Like we're not even thinking about domestic policy. We're not even talking about Epstein anymore. Now they have that Palm Beach Paul or whatever. And now they're trying to like make it a farce. The whole Epstein thing, a farce with this lookalike guy that's going on Jimmy Kimmel. It's like, dude, this son of a bitch is responsible, is at a minimum a middle manager in a global pedo trafficking ring that harms children, kills them, potentially, there's words of like jerky and all, alleged cannibalism we're talking here. We have satanic Luciferian psycho fucking paths running this country. And we do nothing and we forget. Our short-term memory as Americans is going to be the end of us. We need to come together and we have to absolutely care and not get steered every time they steer us through Mockingbird Media and try to change the subject and change the topics that are in front of us. Or if they can't do that, they create some sort of event to make us fight each other, like separate tribes or, Yankees versus Mets bullshit. Shit needs to stop. And it's like, I always I try to be kind to people and I'm trying to figure out ways that, you can get through to like an average, a person that doesn't know much is easier to kind of get to and talk to, because you can present them information and let them come to their own conclusions. That's a person with their head in the sand. And then I would argue a large majority of those people don't want to do anything. They're terrified. The reality of it all means it means what they view as their perceived reality is not true. And that's a bitter pill to swallow for a lot of people. And I understand it and I can empathize. For those that consider themselves awake, we've all been there, right? It's like when your eyes first start opening to this shit and you're going down the rabbit holes and you're just mind blown by all this crap going on that's been going on for centuries. It's hard to accept that. But we have to try. And the people that are on the fringes, I was talking to some folks in a space, some of my mutuals on a space late last week. And it's like, I view it as you have 15% in the margins, on the ends of the spectrum, the far left, far right being the MAGAs and the neocons and the Israeli firsters. And on the far left, you have your blue hairs, you have your communists, your Antifas, your everyone's a racist group, your Karens, all over there. And then in the center, right, you have probably a 25%, maybe 30% of center left to center right. And this is your independents. These are your free-ish, freer thinkers, your libertarian types, who are getting shit on left and right just because they don't pick a side. Because why do we have to pick a side? Why can't we go back and look at how this country was founded through compromise? Not everyone got along. Not all the founders got along. They didn't all see eye to eye. You had anti-federalists, you had federalists, then Tories and carpetbaggers and all this other shit, all the way up until when we had the country formed. And to this day, And we were never supposed to be a bipartisan nation. And yet it was the perfect mechanism of divide and conquer that was deployed upon the nation and has been rooted so deeply into the ethos and pathos of Americans that you believe you have to be left, you have to be right, but you don't look up to down. You don't look at the capstone that rules over you, the ivory tower that rules over you, and you're at the base of the base of the pyramid. Nobody is paying attention to what they need to. And so I just hope people, the best thing we can do is get educated on what the ramifications of this excursion, as Trump called it, military action, because he even admits he can't call it a war because he needs an act of Congress. So it's a military action. Well, the clock is ticking, motherfucker. I mean, I think he has 80 days. And I'm sorry for the vulgarity there. It's just I feel very betrayed by Trump. I truly put a lot of hope in a person, and I'll never make that mistake again. But lesson learned. So a little bitter there, and I'm sorry for the language, but I hope you can understand why I would be bitter. So anyway, yeah, the focus should be, like, our homework assignment would be like, what are the ramifications of the current military action? What does the Strait of Hormuz really mean? What does it mean if the Houthis in Yemen close the strait out of the Red Sea and they cut the two arteries that cut through North Africa and the Middle East? They cut them off. What does that mean? Who gets affected? What allies get affected? When would Europe get truly impacted? And we're downstream from Europe. So when Europe gets impacted, how long will it take for America to feel it? And then what does that look like if we feel it? Are we going to see blackouts? Are we going to see in 6 months, because there's no fertilizer, we're not going to have grain? Are we going to have is there going to be a shortfall on wheat and corn? I don't know. I mean, I'm asking these questions. These are things to think about. So if you guys would like, let's just drop some comments down here and let's have a little discussion, or hop on my, follow me on X. That might not be for you. And I post about this stuff all the time, and I'm just desperately seeking, like, intelligent conversation, even if it's in opposition of what I believe. That's what we need. We need to be like you have to be able to be open-minded enough for, like, if you believe something and someone presents just like undeniable facts to you, then you have to be able to accept that could potentially be the absolute truth, because we're looking for objective truth and trying to find objective good in what I would argue as an objectively evil society and globe right now. And it's just what we need. So anyway, I know this one's all over the place and little jumbled on what I've been talking about. This was kind of an impromptu comeback podcast rant. I will be having I'll announce when I'm gonna have the guest on. It'll be this week. I apologize again for it not airing today. That's on me. That's not on my guest. That's 100% on me. And yeah, I'll post about that as well. Please do follow me on X. Please subscribe here at YouTube. Give me a like. Give me some comments. Throw them in there. You can tell me how much you dislike me or how wrong I am. I'd love it. Any engagement would be awesome. And I wish everybody a fantastic Sunday. And I hope everyone has an excellent week. Let's stay positive, chin up. Don't take the black pill. Believe in good and believe that good will succeed in the end. And it takes good people to come together to make that happen. And that's kind of like my objective, is to try to bring us all together. And so with that, I wish you all well. Have a great day, and catch you soon. Thanks. Take care.